talking about defense, let's move into Denver at Miami. How close will Miami come to scoring 70 again this year?
I think so. I literally, again, before the show, we came up with this question. I had a number in my head right away, and I said I was going to save it for the show. Here's my number. The Dolphins are going to go for 55 again at some point this year. I don't know why I'm saying 55. It's just the 55's coming to my head. I'm rolling with it. 55 points. And I don't know who it's going to be against. I don't even want to predict anybody. But I'll tell you, 55 is my number, so that's how close they're going to come.
They have the Giants and then the Panthers back-to-back after they play the Bills next week. I could see them putting up 55, 60 points on the Giants. I mean, you could argue that Denver has a better core on defense. I mean, they got Kayvon Thibodeau and Dexter Lawrence and everything, but, the secondary is kind of banged up, and the 49ers put 30 on them. So I could see the Dolphins putting up 55.
I can see him doing it
60.
to anybody. Even it's the point where even if they're a better defense than expected, it's the point where the Dolphins their offense is so electric. They just need to show up that week and show out. It can happen, as we know.
I mean, I think this just makes a stronger case for Tua as an MVP. And then I also think it makes a stronger case for McDaniel as coach of the year. So the defense is currently graded, and this is where I kind of want to point this out. Is as electric as the offense is, they're so fast and it's so hard to cover them. And the way they scheme it up, the defense is graded as 8th in the league. If they have a top 10 defense and if they've shown you they can put up 70 points regardless of the team, how do you stop that? And Jalen Ramsey is still coming back.
Okay, so the first thing I want to get off my chest, because you're spot on, absolutely, was back to the thing about Tua, right? I was having an argument this week with some friends, and I was saying how, again, when I say this, people get really heated. I don't know why. Because I'm talking about right now. I'm talking about the last 3 weeks.
Right.
The last 3 weeks is all I have. I don't know about the future, right? I'm not saying he's him. Let me be clear too. I'm not saying he's him. I'm saying these past 3 weeks, Tua has been playing like how Drew Brees was playing, and that's how I said years ago, Tua at his peak can have to live like how Drew lived. Very high anticipation, incredibly accurate ball placement. It's what he's doing right now. He's living like Drew was living, and it works. When you're a small quarterback, you got to make it work like that, right? He's making it work like that. Dominant ball placement, reading the field absolutely perfectly right now. That's what he has to be doing. He's doing it, and he's doing it at an MVP level. Like I said, season ender right now, Tua has to be MVP, right? Because the way he's operating this offense is as high as you can operate it. And I think what I've been hearing a lot of people say recently, it's kind of driving me nuts, is people are saying, oh, and this is what's crazy too. I just want to remind everybody, the narratives over Tua has been so crazy and ridiculous over the past couple of years. So let's review this timeline I've been witnessing, bro. The timeline was like, oh, Tua sucks, right? A few years ago, Tua sucks. He's garbage. He'll never bounce back. And at the time, he had worst O-line in the league, mid-tier core, and also a coach that had no faith in him. All right, so now when Tua has a good O-line that improved, also mostly homegrown though, a lot of guys that they just developed there that have gotten much better, right? So the more homegrown O-line, and on top of it, and now he has the great receiving core and all these weapons, and everyone's like, oh, well, he has all these weapons. How is he not going to? I'm like, so the narrative is either that a quarterback sucks because they have nothing, or when you give them what they need to succeed and then they start succeeding, oh, well, how could he not succeed? These narratives have got to stop. When a dude is playing good football, they need to be acknowledged as playing good football. There are too many people nowadays that I think are way too, they are not happy if they weren't absolutely right about everything. And you got to be able to admit when you were wrong. Look, a lot of y'all were wrong about Tua, and it's fine, right? Hey, I've said some things about Tua in the past. I'm sure that were not 100% accurate. But one thing I was adamant on, you can't knock the man out yet, even when it was at his worst, because we knew what he could do. And the way the situation was working was just absolutely not in his favor. And it's like that for a lot of guys. But Tua specifically would still show you plenty of flashes that you like. And again, here we are now, and it is what it is. But it's just a reminder,
Yeah. So kind of going into Denver, because they had a hand in their defense has been horrible this year.
Terrible.
And it showed against Miami. I just want to point out, the Broncos offense, does not look terrible. They're 11th in points per play in the league. So they're still producing. It's just this defense is so bad. And that's the most frustrating thing is the players they have on defense aren't horrible. They're not horrible.
No, that's what makes it so concerning.
They're underperforming. And I guess my thing is what do you do? Do you promote somebody else to be DC? Do you have someone else call the plays? I really don't get it, because the offense is fine. The defense needs to improve, but in my opinion, because you get beat so bad, and after the comments Peyton made about Hackett, Sean Payton has to capitalize against a horrible Chicago team this upcoming week. And if he doesn't, I don't know. I don't know what happens. I mean, it has to. It would be hell in Denver that day.
Dude, he literally. I mean, we say this facetiously a lot of times, like, oh, they can't or he can't. No. This really, truly is a situation where he cannot have that team walk in there and not be ready to execute the game plan. Because if that, even if it's a shaky game, like you said, the media, the faith in the team, the faith in his leadership is going to be very questioned. And again, he put himself in this position with what he was saying in the offseason. We already acknowledged, we touched on this plenty of times. Something I want to say real quick too is, again, we talk about the defense. I mean, they're playing terrible. No sacks. They put 70 points up and you didn't get to the QB once. It's pitiful. There's no words. I mean, it's not 70 points. I think there's no words to begin with. Not even get to the QB once. It's just, this defense is a mess. And to your point, main thing, and we'll move on for this, but they have a lot of very good players on defense. I mean, when you have Pat Surtain on defense, there's no excuse to be allowing 70 points. Even that's just one player. They have plenty of guys that can hold their own. The bottom line is, get it together over there in Denver, because this, especially for how much I was gassing Sean Payton, he's making me look like a jackass over here. You know, it's like, geez, Lordy, get it together over there in Denver, boys. Man, this is, talk about worst case scenario. It's definitely what's going on in Denver right now.